Vita vyetu zitapanuliwa kutafuta wanaohusika na kuuzia watoto wetu dawa za kulevya, ambayo tunaona pia ni chanzo ambayo inasababisha hawa kuhusika na mambo ya uhalifu. La pili, tutaangalia pia wanaohusika na mambo ya unyakuzi wa mashamba, kwa sababu pia wanaleta hatari kwa watu yetu. Na tunasema maofisa kwa pamoja wamekubali hawatapendelea mtu yote na hawatakubali sheria ifunjwe mbele ya macho yao na masikio yao.
So you're looking at gangs of terror in the county of Mombasa, and by extension, several gangs have also emerged across the country, specifically in Western Kenya. So we're looking at how exactly are these gangs supposed to be neutralized, and what does that say about the state of security in the Republic of Kenya? We're doing this with George Msamali, who's a security expert. He's here in studio with me. Msamali, so looking at what is happening in Mombasa, looking at what happened in Western Kenya, I did mention that the gang made an attack last year in September. There's an old man who lost his life. There were attacks in 2018. There were attacks in 2017. So one almost gets a sense that security forces are unable to deal with the gangs.
Linda, we cannot blame the security forces per se, because I think this is supposed to be our responsibility. What we need to look at critically is the genesis of all this. The reason why I'm saying security, Msamali, is because provision of security is a preserve of the national government. I know that, but police cannot be everywhere. And in most cases, you'll find that in a working system, members of the public play an integral part of securing the country. And what I mean here is that the people should work alongside the police, especially in providing what we refer to as popular intelligence. These are the people that live with these children, and these are the people that are supposed to provide police with information if a child becomes delinquent. And you'll find that this is not happening in this country, and this is why you'll find that these groups always operate with impunity. And anytime the police come up to deal with them, you'll find that we arrest people, they end up in court, we don't have evidence, because the perpetrators of these attacks normally disappear amongst the populace, and the people are not willing to give them up to the police. When we look at obstacles which hamper objective observation, one of them is kinship. These young men are related to us. These children are related to us. And when you try to observe objectively, you look at him as your son first, your brother, your sister, and nothing else. And this is why most cases, when police arrest a suspect, members of the family will follow to the police station and say, our child is innocent, because our observation has been hampered. So to deal with this situation, Linda, I believe that we need to look deeper. The root cause of all this, what is the motivation that is pushing these young men to very easily be coerced to joining these gangs? Yeah, because you're looking at a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old. Yeah, these are children, and I believe what I look at from where I sit, I believe this is a social economic problem that we failed to solve. It's social because we've failed to look into the welfare of our children. We as parents have failed, and it's economic in such a way that we've made, I'm not looking at joblessness, because if you look at the age of 13 to 19, these are people that are supposed to be still in school, and they're out here committing crime. So it means that we've made education so expensive to an extent that some parents are not able to afford educating their children. And this is why the children will fall out of school and then very easily be coerced to join this kind of criminal gangs. But, and this is where we need to look, we need to focus. But Msamali, a counter-argument to that would be there are several youths across the country. This is being witnessed in Mombasa, and once in a while we've seen this happening in Western. So it's not a generalized opinion, is it? Lida, I believe I've done enough research on this, and it's a generalized experience, because you're talking about Mombasa, you're talking about Western, you go to places like Kitale, we have another group that is operating in Kitale. You come to Nairobi, we have groups in Kayole, we have groups in Dandora. What has not happened is that we've not given them, they have not come in the limelight. When they carry out their attacks, they're not exposed as we are exposing the Mombasa attack. Yeah. But generally, you will find that we have deviant behavior amongst our children. And what we're not focusing on as a people is how to deal with this. Mheshimiwa talked about juvenile homes. Yes, I know, initially we had juvenile homes, but corruption came up, and the land that was supposed to be used for these homes was stolen, was grabbed by people who are politically correct. Right now, we do not have juvenile homes again. And in the olden days, you will find that parents played a major role in ensuring that if a child becomes delinquent, you are able to report this child to the police, and it's you, the parent, that used to hand over the child to the police for correction. But now it's not happening. A child is arrested, for example, with bang. It's the parent that will follow to the police and ensure that this child does not go to court. So, I mean, we are encouraging this as a people, and this is now where things are getting out of hand. And Kenya is not synonymous with this kind of groups, this kind of gangs, because I remember New York had the same problem, and in 1984, when they elected Rudy Guerrero as the mayor, he came up with what he called the broken window policy. The broken window policy is that you deal with a delinquent child the moment you realize that this child is now becoming delinquent and is starting.
You deal with it from the onset.
You deal with it from the onset.
Okay.
Is that what we are doing as a country? We are not doing that. We are waiting until we have such an incident. This is when now we come up and say we need to tackle this situation. The situation has always been with us. It's only that we are not trying to address the root cause of this, this problem.
I'm listening to you, and I listened into the MCA earlier on, and both of you seem to point to one fact, that ultimately the solution lies with the society. Perhaps they need to start talking up a little bit more about the character of their children. But would also that be the reason why perhaps intelligence was not available on these particular attacks?
Definitely that is the reason why intelligence was not available, because you will find that people fear giving information to the police. As I said earlier, this is an issue of this child being my son first and a criminal second. So in case of anything, I'll say, let me deal with it at home, as opposed to handing over this child to the police. And you'll find that what has also discouraged people from dealing with the police is the kind of reaction that we normally get to the police. The police tend to use brutal force when dealing with such kind of situations. And you'll find that as opposed to now rehabilitating this child, they will make him even a more hardened criminal, because he will go out there, be taken to prison, he'll mix up with hardcore criminals, and then that behavior will continue. So I think we also need to look at the police, the way we handle this kind of situations. We have an incident, we go out with brutal force, people will leave the areas, there will be some kind of a curfew, people will not walk, and then at the end of the day, you'll find that people will now say, now, there's no difference between dealing with the police and the criminal gangs. And this is why now community policing failed in Kenya. We tried to come up with Manyumba Kumi, it also failed. The same reason, people have apathy to the police. Very poor working relationship between the police and members of the public. There's no sharing of information. And this is why, remember, this kind of attack is not something that happened yesterday. It must have been planned. Somebody somewhere might have overheard something, or he might have seen something, but he did not bring out this information to the authority for fears of the repercussions or the consequences that will come with giving that information. Okay. I think that is what we need now to address very seriously.
So we need to find a way to ensure that information trickles down to the police. We have a new Inspector General, fairly new, he's been there for a while, Hilary Mutiambai. In the event that he's watching this show, what advice would you give him in terms of easing that relationship between the society and the police, so that parents, as the MCA said, parents are able to come up with information, the society is able to come up with information, the elders are able to come up with information, because as you rightly put it, people are afraid to even approach the police.
Linda, I think this is something that has been addressed before, because we've come up with several initiatives.
Are they working?
They are not working. And I believe that is why in the Agenda 4 in the Kriegler report was reforming the police. And this is exactly what is happening right now. We changed the police from a police force, and we said, let it be a police service. A service that will be friendly to the people. People will feel easy walking to a police station and giving information. But I think the problem we have here is the crop of people that we have in the police. They still have that old force mentality, believing that everything that is security related is supposed to be handled by the police. And this is where the failure comes in. Community policing failed, we tried it. Manyumba Kumi has also failed. I think what Mutiambai needs to do is to relook at the police training curriculum. Are we having people in service that need to be taken back to college and told, now, this is no longer a colonial police force, but it's a police service that needs to work with the people. And if they're willing to work with the people, I know this information will come out, because these criminals live amongst us. They are our brothers, they are our sisters, they are our children. And if somebody is a criminal and living with you, you never know when he will turn against you. So what is important is that let's have a good working relationship between the law enforcers and the people so that it becomes very easy for the people to share information about criminal elements in the society. If that does not happen, I believe we shall always be reacting to situations as opposed to being reactive. We've arrested 3, 7 are missing.
Yeah.
We talked about the 42 brothers in Matungu. How many have been arrested and arraigned in court? We have been talking about the Gaza group. For so long, it has been there. What we've been hearing is about extrajudicial killings. Has it solved the problem? No. Every other day you kill 1, 2 will emerge. The same social problems. So I think as much as we are trying to address this as a police issue, as a security issue, we also need to look at the social and economic welfare of the people so that we make this not to happen. Byron talked about corruption. How is corruption related to the emergence of these groups? Do people feel defranchised by the leading clique of people? When we hear about 69 billion shillings disappearing and then we don't get action, then automatically it shows that the people down here will feel like we are on our own and we need to fight for ourselves. And this is why you'll find that people with money will go and finance these kind of groups and at the end of the day wreak havoc in estates, go around rampaging, killing people, maiming people, and then at the end of the day, we don't get equal response from the security agencies. When I talk about equal response, I mean people actually being arrested and having enough evidence to arraign them in court for them to face due process.
Yeah, that point that you say someone is financing these particular groups, I know that I was speaking to a reporter in Mombasa and was saying, I mean, these young men are moving around in a counter in the middle of the night, slashing anyone and everyone. And I've listened to police giving an explanation today. They say partly it has to do with politics, it has to do with drugs, and it has to do with land. In 1 minute, Samali, before I let you go, what is the danger of allowing such groups to thrive?
It's very dangerous because there's always the copycat effect. If we don't deal with this conclusively, then definitely other people will learn from the group and then we'll start having other groups emerging from different parts of the country. So we must deal with this decisively, do proper investigations, collect intelligence, have the perpetrators arrested and the financiers arrested and let them face due process. Okay. If we don't do that, then we're in a very big danger of other young groups, other groups emerging from different corners of this country, and then we will not be able to control them.
George Musamali, I'm hoping you'll be able to share your report, but thank you for being part of the big story this evening as a security analyst. A big thank you as well to Byron Odera, who spoke to our lead reporter, Sophia Wanuna, and Lucy Chizi Chireri, MCM Topanga, for being part of the big story. I'm Linda Oguto.